On to Democracy 2010 tonight, 5 days before you vote. And while many of you won't have any issues, thousands of votes will never be counted. ABC 15 investigator Lori Jane GLIHA reveals how often it happens and what might be done to fix it.
Some elections are so close, who wins and who loses comes down to a flip of a coin, the short straw, or a high draw.
We literally have some great examples in Arizona where one vote has made the difference.
Last year, Adam Trank won his Cave Creek council seat by drawing a king of hearts to break a tie. And Secretary of State Ken Bennett says every vote is crucial.
If one voter in each precinct that voted for Kennedy had instead voted for Nixon, Kennedy would have never been elected.
When voters have problems at the polls, like having the wrong ID or their address doesn't match the one on file, they still get to vote. The Help America Vote Act of 2002 allows them to cast a provisional ballot.
The purpose of provisional ballots is to make sure that anyone who comes to the poll on Election Day does not get turned away.
In the 2008 general election, more than 150,000 Arizonans filled out provisional ballots. But according to the Secretary of State, almost 45,000 of those ballots didn't count.
The state rejected nearly 15,000 because registered voters went to the wrong precinct. More than 14,000 weren't even registered in Arizona but showed up to vote anyway. Some were found ineligible to vote or never provided a proper ID.
And there are all sorts of complications.
Phyllis Rowe has worked election polls for more than 20 years.
We get a lot of people who are unsure where to go.
That's what happened to Mary Rowell of Gilbert.
I didn't get anything in the mail because this was an extremely important vote for me. I just assumed my polling place would be the same polling place that it has been.
Sam Wersinski is running against Bennett for Secretary of State.
15% of those individuals that took time to vote in person have to use a non-standard ballot. It says something's wrong. Something's broken.
His primary opponent, Chris Deschini, says the current system is working fairly well.
That's something like over 70% were counted. So that means that the system actually works.
The fact that some provisional ballots don't count is really a sign of the system working correctly to make sure that we're only letting registered voters vote.
The number of provisional ballots cast more than doubled in the last general election, while the total number of ballots increased by 32%. And over the last 3 general elections, the percentage of provisional ballots in Arizona that were rejected has gone up slightly.
There are all sorts of little things that happen with the provisional ballots. We really need to develop a better strategy than that.
Secretary Bennett would like to see the state streamline the process.
Instead of a voter only being able to vote at their one and only one polling location, I'd like to see us move in the direction of voting centers.
In concept, it's a good idea, but we have to check, for example, the training that would go and the logistics that would go to support a voting center.
Deschini says education is key. Wersinski says it's the best way to make every vote count.
People are taking the time to vote. We want to make sure that their voice is heard and that ballot is counted.
If you end up having to fill out a provisional ballot at the polls, you'll get a provisional ballot receipt. Hold on to that, and then you can check online to make sure that your vote counted. We put a link on our website, abc15.com. Just click on News and then Investigations. I'm investigator Lori Jane GLIHA, ABC 15 News.